Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. Today we are doing a property search for one of you all, one of our viewers, and we are in the heart of West Virginia, central West Virginia, a county called Clay County. Kind of close to where I grew up. It's the first time doing a video in Clay County though. This is a new county to do a property tour in, but really want to get into showing you guys this. This property was purchased for $10,000, 42 acres for $10,000. So we're going to see if that $10,000 price, which is awesome, what you get with that. So come along with us as we walk this property and we'll see what we can find. So we're here on this 42 acres. It's a ridge top property. So that's why we have so much sky. And we're actually down on a bench just below the main ridge. The main ridge is here. The property is 42 acres that runs primarily this way. And it has, at one time, John, the viewer who hired me to do this, sent me a picture from 1957, I believe, and showed how clear it was. So most likely it was grazed, probably even had some crop on it. That's what we think the lighter images are, that there was some crop raised on it. But of course the ground has laid fallow for a long time. John actually got this property from his great uncle, who that's why he got the great deal, of course. The property's been fallow, as you can see. We're here on the old house site checking it out. We'll start here and see if we can find any infrastructure. See if we can find a well, septic tank, that type of stuff.
It's a square cut stone foundation.
Yeah. No. Yeah, the Google Maps shows that road goes down all the way to the watershed, and it looks like a decent road. This structure looks old enough that it probably did not have running water, did it? This may not even been a house. This could have been a barn. Well, it looked like it had a porch. Well, there's a cutout for a stovepipe, doesn't it?
Oh, there's a stovepipe.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, here's some black pipe though. So that may be water.
That's
There's
right.
a nice cut stone.
Yeah.
See, that might do it.
There it is, it's out the back door.
Yeah.
No, it does. It goes in here.
Yeah, under that stone. I wonder.
Connected.
Could be access to a spring or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a well.
So today I got the A-team with me. I got Mom and Dad out since we're trying to find infrastructure, and there's a cemetery supposedly on this land that we got to find. And of course we want to try to find a semblance of property boundaries. So they're going to help me sleuth this out. But definitely an old house. There's an old cellar we're going to show here in a second. So we'll check that out. All right, so down behind the house, look at this black racer. He's trying to get warm. It's about, it's low 50s right now, so he's definitely trying to heat up. He's acting like I don't see, but I'm standing right on top of him. Now, if Mom comes down here, she's going to lose her mind. She don't like snakes. Hey, Mom, come here and look what I found.
Oh, I found something too.
No, I found something even better. You ever seen a 49-year-old get beat by a 75-year-old? I thought I'd found where that black pipe went.
Oh, did you?
Awful high and awful cold for them.
Yeah, he's not moving around too well.
Yeah.
Don't kill him.
Oh, I'm not gonna kill him. I'll never kill him. Yeah. Hey, John, we're here on the back corner of the house seat. The old house is right here through this autumn olive, and this looks to be like the remnants of an outhouse. So that would lead us to believe most likely not a septic system in place. Most likely an outhouse. That's the kind of age that we're dealing with this house. That's being as rural as it is, that it probably never had electricity, even though there's now power running through the property. Probably had no electricity and probably had a well but we're still looking. Ouch. So here's the old Cellar Foundation, and it's actually still somewhat solid. Concrete poured. Here's the trick to make sure this isn't a floor with a hole in it. Alright, so the old house seat is right here on this bench, and that's so far the flattest land that we've come in contact with. This is down over kind of the southeast slope. And a little bit of garbage dumped, nothing too bad. It's funny. So here's a frame of something, looks like a bed frame of some sort, and of course that cherry tree has grown up through that. So that cherry tree's 6 inches in diameter, growing up through that frame. Yeah, here's the rest of the bed frame. You can definitely tell, I mean, with the daffodils and the walnut trees and the cherry trees that are growing along this edge, that this was, it was all cleared and probably well manicured at one time with everything kept. That's what always amazed me. You can, here in West Virginia especially, you can find these old house seats usually this time of year because of the daffodil squares that grow up. Because people would always throw the bulbs out around their houses, around their cellars or barns, and the daffodils will grow up in that area. So far, the timber we're seeing is not very mature. I mean, there's some millable stuff. Some of these poplars are millable, but they're not huge. It looks like this was timbered in the last 20 years. Looking at some of the stump cutoffs. There's quite a few stumps here and there, so most likely was timbered. But there is some decent stuff for personal use in here so far. Again, we're just scratching the surface of this 42 acres. Lots of autumn olive, of course, taking over everything as it does. This looks like, Dad made a good point out, this looks like the old house seat. Front of the house seat was used as the log staging area, where they'd bring the logs up, cut them to size, and load them on the trucks to haul out. And what really points to that is the butt-off pile. So here's the butt-off pile. There's another skull, Mom.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So looking at this butt-off pile, yeah, this 10 to 15 years old. Pretty good stack of log, yeah, goes all the way over there. So they've kind of made this area even flatter as they push things over. Pretty good elevation drop here. Property goes all the way down to the watershed, which is quite a ways and quite a decent drop in elevation. A little bit more mature timber on this side, but still not marketable yet. So there's power that comes through the property. And Dad pointed out to me that there's also telephone. So there's phone service, wired phone service, and power. But actually where we're standing, do we still have cell service? My phone keeps buzzing. I think we have, yeah, I've got one bar.
One bar LTE.
Yeah, so there is service here, which is nice because that's rare in this part of the county. We're high enough up and close enough to the interstate that gives us that opportunity. But power coming through to the neighbor. There's only one neighbor on up this county road, and that's his power drop, or leading into his power drop. So it doesn't look like there was ever a power drop on this property. Most likely when that house was lived in, it was prior to power coming up this way. On the pictures from the 50s, you don't see any power poles. But power service drop would be pretty easy. You know, if you guys can see, my truck is just right there. So the old house seat is here. So power is literally, you know, less than 100 yards away from the old house seat. So that would be plenty plenty close enough to not incur a large expense in getting power placed. And of course you can see the right-of-way going further that way. As we look to the south up the ridge, a lot of red maple, a lot of let's see, what have we got? Red maple, my goodness, almost all red maple. A little bit of poplar, a lot of autumn olive. So the client's looking at possibly doing some timber framing work to build a structure. So while there's not marketable timber, there's definitely enough building material, I believe, on this property to timber frame something really nice. And it's grown up, and again, a lot of it poplar. That's the most mature in here. Yeah, goodness, this one here he's not straight, but he's probably 30 inches in diameter. So timber guys didn't want to mess with that close to the power line, I bet. All right, so on the eastern side of the property line, this is a pretty good indication of what this piece of land probably looked like back in the 50s. So the neighbor here has kept some of this clear. Some autumn olive obviously coming in, but kept some of this clear with cattle. Just a real pretty pasture, hillside pasture. And he's got clearly marked fence line that actually lays over pretty well with the map that we have, tax map, which again, you can't always rely on tax maps, but it's decently accurate with this straight line. So we're at the edge of the property here. Everything wooded is part of the 42-acre parcel. So both south and north. And we're gonna check out the ridge line here and just see what that looks like. Yeah, wow. Kind of reminds me of our parcel, where it's sloped and wooded, but it's not super steep. I mean, you can see why this was grazed 40, 50, 60 years ago, because it just has a nice gentle roll to it. So what's interesting is on this side, so the county road's this way, so we're on the going south up the hill slope, that there aren't any timber roads and we don't see any stumpage. So leads me to believe that everything we see here is just grown in from the pasture. So this was not harvested because it was probably way too immature when they came and cut 15, 20 years ago. So we've come to the top of the south ridge on the property. The property actually goes over the ridge, and there's a family cemetery that's here that client knew was there. We just wasn't quite sure exactly where on the property. He knew that one existed. So what's neat, really hadn't showed up on the map until I really started studying it, that there's the cemetery road access right here that I'm standing on. It goes right down, still cleared, still nice. Doesn't look like the cemetery is maintained yearly, but is somebody still keeping it up a little over time. So nice access to both sides of this crown, utilizing the cemetery road to access timber, to do those type of things. And then there's actually another, it's a county road, and it's gated right at the property line. So I don't know if a neighbor is requested an opportunity to gate that, but we see it further down. So the property line goes further over, but we're going to explore this top here where the cemetery is and see what we can find. It's a 1990 World War II veteran, very cool. Yeah. 1865 birth date.
1964 is the same house, right? There's the mom, there's the dad.
The wooden cross was back there. All right, so just off the edge of the cemetery here at the crown of the ridge, we've got a survey slash, which obviously makes sense, because usually the lines would, yeah, here's the line going right through there. Clearly marked red slash, red slash, red slash. Should keep going this way. Gorgeous trees up here. I mean, obviously because the cemetery is close by. This red oak is just absolutely massive. That thing's got to be Easily 100 years old, 150 maybe. That thing's a monster. Love it. That's the thing about cemeteries. That's the thing about cemeteries, man. They'd always put them on top of the ridges in Appalachia. But beautiful, beautiful views. You can see the ridge line all the way around. I mean, we've got a commanding view of most of central Clay County here. Really pretty. All right, so now we're on the south-facing slope. So we've summited the ridge, coming down, cemetery's back here. So I'm walking right along the property line and coming up to the other road that's gated. Now I have to see if this is a county road or private road. The way it's gated, somebody's assuming it's a private road. Seems to be well maintained, actually. A lot of good base. But man, just a nice gradual lay here. Really pretty. And the property line, you can see mom and dad, they're kind of coming right down the line here. So the line comes right across, crosses over, and there should be a pin marking there somewhere that turns and goes back toward, crosses back over this road. But this is gorgeous. This little lay right here is very nice. So here's the cemetery road coming down and joining this small gated road. So this is where the two tie in, and you talk about a nice ridge top. I'd like to have a place sitting right here.
There's a blaze right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just keeps it going.
This kind of access to
this
much property. My goodness, you got a good road on the front, good road on the back.
Yeah, it'll be the second to the last guy on the trail. You don't have to worry about a bunch of riffraff.
Hey, it's well worth what you gave for it.
No, that's a logging road, most likely. The property line ends, it just comes right through here. So we're paralleling the property line. So this is, looking at the map, there's a lot of logging roads down through there. So that's probably all that was.
I'll tell you what, if I was a young man, I'd buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, there's
Probably worth $100,000.
easily.
Say 42 acres.
42.9, I think, 42.7.
$2,000 an acre.
I'm gonna walk out this point real quick and just get a view of this, show him. Okay, so here's, even the cemetery road continues, so there's a little branch off of it to get right down to the gravel road, but this was probably the original cemetery road that ran the spine. So that's not an easement. There's no, as long as there's access to the cemetery, then you could do anything right here. And man, I tell you, this would be the place that I'd build a residence. I'd jump all over this, because you've got, I'd say probably 2 acres of slightly sloped. Nice crown, tons of south facing. The power line right away is going to be a little further away, but not too far, because we're walking down back toward it. Got this subtle bench that goes out. There's even a road that comes around, should come around here, an old logging road. Yeah, I would probably, if it was me, I was 20 years younger, I'd claim this as a house seat, and I'd start building here. That way I could have livestock, you'd have garden, you'd have all of that, and not be dealing with north-facing property issues, and still be tucked away nicely on the property. And just love how this entire finger, as we came down, we dropped probably what, 50 feet in elevation, Dad? So just gradual slope all the way down to this point. Little second gate here. So this is probably the original cemetery gate, because that's where that little right-of-way is going. And then as this road came in later, then most likely to get to the cemetery, they just jumped over here. Yeah, look at the old sign, marked cemetery. In case she was lost. Gate hardware on this is fairly new, actually. All right, so we're at the front corner. Here is the county road coming in, and I didn't think this property was surveyed, but there's blaze on this line. So whether it was surveyed recently, that's great, or whether the neighbors had a bunch of things surveyed at different times, then okay, that works too. But there's a blaze that marks this line all the way down, so that line is going to be clearly identified, and it looks to be the same age. So this tract may have been surveyed in the last 10 years, which is great, of course. But as we come back on the county road, my truck is over there. We just came down this area. So that awesome domed little bench top is literally 100, 150 yards from the power line. So that would be an easy access to drop power in and be on that spot and abandon the old house seat. Especially since there wasn't any, other than the cellar frame, that's the only thing that's of value on that old house seat. And my phone's ringing right now. That's how good a service we have. All right, so closing comments or closing thoughts on this property. Again, looking at 42 plus acres in the middle of God's country here in Clay County, a little rural, road access, okay, it is what it is. One road was definitely better than the other. But I think John has really been blessed by being able to acquire this land. And it's one of those situations with having a family member that is past the time of using the land and really setting up John and his wife perfectly with a piece of land. Yeah, it's going to take some sweat equity. It's going to take a lot of hard work. But this is a beautiful canvas to which he and his wife can paint their homesteading dreams. All right, well, man, we enjoyed this. Really cool to have my folks along with me. They're very helpful. Mom's eagle eyes. She found everything. Oh, she did almost step on the snake without seeing it. But other than that, who's buying lunch? Oh, cool. Ooh, I get free lunch out of this too. All right, so if you guys want to see me and our crew on a piece of land you may be interested in, beautiful West Virginia, just reach out to us. You can go to our website, redtoolhouse.com, use the contact form, send me a note there. We can go look at a piece of land. I like to stay in West Virginia. If I need to travel outside, we can do that, but West Virginia is my home state. It's what I love. I feel I'm more confident in knowing and assessing land that I'm familiar with. Appreciate everybody watching. Take care.